Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Oh yeah, the cannabis stocks went a little bit crazy yesterday, right before the close. As a trader, I'm sitting here trying to find a correlation between when I put milk in my coffee and my trading accuracy. But yeah, so watching CRON, CVNA, they're both gapping. CVNA gapping up some, Cron moving, gapping down some, but moving regardless. Gonna keep an eye on it. Also looking at, let's see, MRO maybe, CGC, PTLA. Somebody else mentioned PYX. I'm definitely watching that one too. Roku. And that's really about it. Not too much that I really like, but there's some moving, so I have a few to watch here. VSTM as well, if you can trade it. VSTM gapping up from 585 to 636. Also RSLS is gapping up some and moving some, gapping up from 19.5 cents to 350. It seems like either an acquisition, maybe a split. Probably a split is what this really looks like, actually. So we'll see what happens with that. We also have SESN gapping up from 154 to 185. We have Q, CUE, GALT, no volume. CROX gapping up. So we got a few options. NIO, another one. This one didn't really work out yesterday, but maybe it's a little bit extended today. We'll see what happens with it. It's a reverse split. Yeah, that's what it seemed like. At first, I thought maybe acquisition, but then when I saw how much it's moved, it was kind of obvious it was a split. Must be an expensive acquisition if that thing's going to gap up, whatever, gapped up. Well, yeah, looks like a 10 to 1. 1 to 140 reverse split. Yeah, that actually makes sense. But yeah, like I said, I was trying to find a correlation between when I put milk in my coffee and when I drink my coffee just plain. The only reason I think I do better when I put milk in my coffee is because my coffee cools down a little bit earlier, and so thus I'm a little bit more aware by the time the open happens. That's my thesis on that, so we'll see if it's true or not. What's up, the best? Good morning, man. How long will this live stream continue? Nah, man, I'm not a sugar guy with coffee, man. I like my coffee black or with a little bit of milk, and the only reason I put milk in it is because I'm too impatient to wait for it to cool down. Like I like the bitterness in coffee. I think the bitterness wakes me up. My wife will just put tons of sugar in it. I can't drink that, man. That's just not. It's just too much in the morning. I don't like that much sugar in the morning. The bitterness of coffee helps me wake up, I think, and so I actually like the bitterness of it. The stream is gone for you. What do you mean, Netron? Try refreshing it, man. It's saying it's fine on my end. Let me go to live. Yeah, it's live on my end. Let me test this out. Test. How's everybody doing? Can everybody see the stream okay? What's it look like? Yeah, it's moving. Which system do you use for trading? I mean, it's mostly just risk and reward, I kind of sounds good, looks good, live in the UK. All right, cool. Yeah, Netron, I'm not sure what's up with you, man. Maybe refresh the page. But yeah, so I mean, I just use risk to reward. You know what I mean? Like I try to build a plan around each trade I get into. I'm not just going to blindly jump into a trade. I mostly trade what's called the VWAP fade. So like, let me find my profitable trade from yesterday. It was on GoGo, I think. So the VWAP fade is looking for big bearish move at the open. In this case, I got into it here. I think my entry was 712, 713. So I got into it here. Once it big bearish trend, pull back to the VWAP, I got in short. And my ultimate goal with these is to take a partial at the low of the day, and then see if it can break the low of the day and give me a little bit more gains from it. And so that's what this one did. I actually held this one from 712 yesterday down to 687, I think, was my exit. So right around here is where I exited. Made about $27 from it, $26 or $27. It was good risk to reward. In this trade, if I get in here, I could set my risk up here. And so my risk is realistically about 5 cents. Maybe a little bit more than 5 cents, maybe 7 cents. But my reward is all the way down from 795 or from 695 all the way up to 712. And so my reward is like 17 cents. My risk is like 7-8 cents maybe. So it's better than 2-to-1 risk reward on that. And so that's what I look for in each trade. If you think about it, if you stick to your risk reward levels and you hold it to your levels, your accuracy rate doesn't have to be as high. Like for instance, yesterday I had one winning trade, one losing trade, but I still ended green because my winning trade, I held substantially longer to my reward target. And so what's up, Seven? What's up, man? Derek, what's up, brother? But yeah, my whole thing is just risk and reward. I don't understand why nobody else kind of preaches about it. A lot of people just kind of jump in. Anybody can learn a strategy, but it's really about just giving yourself positive risk and reward in each trade you get into. If you consistently give yourself 1 to 2 risk reward, give yourself twice the reward as your risk, you're going to set yourself up to succeed in trading, And even if you break even in accuracy, you're still going to be profitable. So that's just what I try to do. It just makes sense to me. And, today's my yesterday was my third green day in a row, all been on stream. It's time for me to use a little bit larger sizing, but we'll see if I can make 4 green days in a row today. One I'm really bummed out I can't trade is RSLS. Looks really good. It's that split one, but it's moving a lot. There's also PYX. Somebody else mentioned this one. It's gapping down a pretty significant amount. I guess I'm a little bit more long biased just because it's down so much, but I would have to look at the daily chart a little bit to see. I don't know. It's bouncing off the support at 22s. And so I bounced off of there yesterday, and then it just cracked it. So yeah, here's the thing. So that low of the day, that low of the last year is at 1820. And so that's kind of the big level I'm watching for PYX here. You can see this low of the day here at around 1820. Right here, actually. And so, if it breaks underneath that, it could get interesting. And it's right around there, so we'll see. That's a big support level. That's definitely the area I'm watching for this one. And so we'll see what happens. Really? My streaming keeps reloading? That's weird, man. It could be your internet. I'm not sure. Usually it works fine. Let me see what I'm running at. Let me see what my speed is right now. I'm paid for the gigabit internet, which is like 1,000 megabytes per second. And so I should get that, but I haven't been getting that lately. Ping's only 11, so light ping. Man, I'm going to have to call Comcast. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's not bad. My download speed is roughly 70 megabytes per second, 75 megabytes per second. So it's not like it's slow or anything. It's not like ridiculously slow. My upload speed's on point. My upload speed's like 45. And so, I don't know. It's not my end, but, I'm kind of bummed out my download speed's that slow. What's up, Ben? What's up, brother? Yeah, Ben from Snaptrade's here, guys. Oh, I'm directly. I'm on cable, Marcus. I could use Wi-Fi, but I mean, my office area is right next to my modem, and so I just plug it directly into my modem. But yeah, we got Ben from Snaptrade here. I can go ahead and show my Snaptrade. So yeah, if you haven't checked out Snaptrade, awesome free website for traders to take advantage of. What I really love Snaptrade for, like I always say, is building my watch list. I do this every single morning. You can see here my watch list is constantly updated. And I share this watch list with a decent amount of traders here, but you can see VSTM, Cron, NK, NIO, RSLS, CVNA, all on my new watch list. And it shows you all the different technical signals, market cap, volume change percentage, volume. The volume change percentage is actually the amount of difference in the volume compared to what it was previously. So you could see like CVNA is up 53% in volume. Also shows you the technical signal. It also has this scanner here, which regardless of what sector you're interested in, it has the cannabis sector, upcoming earnings, recent earnings, gap ups if you like to trade gap ups like me, high gainer volatile, high gainer penny stocks. And so there's a scan for you here. And like I said, it's all free. Plus, it's really easy to just check out the news on a stock. I can just click today's news, and it shows me the most recent news stories on today's stocks. Or if I really want to make it easy on myself, I can just click watch list, and it shows me all the news releases and catalysts from my specific watch list. And so go check them out. It's snaptrade.us. I'll post the link. We got Ben here from Snaptrade. What's up, brother? Yeah, man. Snaptrade is always trying to, Snaptrade is always trying to get people's input on the site. See what they want to see more. See what they maybe want to see less of. See what they want to see added. What are their favorite features, so forth and so on. And so, yeah, give them some feedback, guys, if you can. They added NBEV back on TEFs. Appreciate that, Frank. It's about time, man. I was bummed out. I was bummed out they took NBEV off. I used to trade NBEV almost every day, and it would set up for a fade nicely, so it's cool that they added it back. All right, so yeah, I would have included, most of the cannabis stocks all follow each other, like CRON, NBEV, man, what is it? CRON, NBEV, CGC. Somebody mentioned one yesterday as well. I can't remember what it was though. I think he was being sarcastic, Ben. Yeah, of course you get this. No stress, brother. I wonder if they added VSTM. VSTM I really like. I always get nervous entering them in. Oh, it is here. Sweet. Okay, so yeah, VSTM probably one of my favorite stocks today. Like, you look at VSTM, gapping up some. Big move yesterday. Big percentage move. Gapping up some. It's tradable. I'm definitely watching VSTM as well. I always get a little nervous when I enter stocks on TEFs to see if they're tradable, just because, sometimes they're not. It makes me kind of bummed out about it. ACB was the one. Yeah, appreciate that, seller. Or seller. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. ACB. It's the a little bit lesser known cannabis stock in the market. See if this one's actually tradable. It is. Okay, so yeah. A lot of cannabis stocks moving. But VSTM is probably going to stay on my main watch. I guess my top 4 are VSTM, Cron, NIO, and PYX. Maybe PTLA. Well, my Geo put option's doing okay. You see, Geo got hit yesterday, and it looks like I'm actually happy with this last little exit. If you were here at the end of the stream when I closed it down, I was still holding a few shares of GoGo, and I'm actually happy with where I exited. It dropped only about 5 or 6 more cents, and then it rebounded. Never really got under that in the rest of the day. Still hasn't broken under that. So my exit was pretty good. I'm happy with my exit for sure. Yeah, it bounced right off of that pre-market high. Yeah, for sure, 7. Free donut day. I like it, man. Alright, so VSTM. We'll see what happens here. The levels I'm looking at for this one really are like 650 here. Maybe 686. Maybe $6. Gonna look at it right around here. Appreciate the sub. Ashish, appreciate it, man. Welcome. But not a bad morning. People mentioning that the cannabis stocks went a little crazy yesterday afternoon. It's cool to see PLAG popping up on my scanners. Let's see what PLAG is doing here. I mean, it's starting to move a little bit, PLAG, the plague, as we like to call it around here. It's at 540. We'll see if it gets a little bit more volume. Still slow volume. Yeah, VSAL, I actually have it on my list just because, I mean, if I look at the daily chart, I think it's a little extended and it may pull back to at least that $15 level, but I'm not 100% sure. It needs to pick up some more volume. I just think it's a little bit extended on the daily chart. And so, for that reason, it's on my watch list. See if it can pick up some volume, maybe fade a little bit, drop down. For VCEL. So we'll see what happens with it. I just think it looks a little bit extended. Does TradeNet take their share from each trade or your entire profit every day? Because I swear they take more and more every day. So it depends. I think if you're profitable, I think they keep 70% of. I mean, 70% of your gains is going to be 70% of your profit as well. If you're actually profitable, if you're not over the original balance they gave you, they don't take anything except for commissions. I think commissions. We've talked about it. Commissions equal out on TEFs to about. Let me look it up. Live gains, and I talked about it, but yeah, commissions equal out to about 0.0075, and so if you're buying 1,000 shares, it's going to be roughly $7.50 per trade. If you're buying, 200 shares, If you're buying 300 shares, it's 225 a trade, and so it's still pretty cheap. I mean, 225 a trade is pretty cheap. That's why I like using it. But the more you go up in share size, the more expensive it's going to be. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I'm kind of the same way. I'm right there with you, two-way trader. I mean, I'm looking at Kron and you know the cannabis stocks as well, but VSTM is definitely on my main watch. Once I saw that it was tradable, it's definitely one that I'm interested in checking out. Yeah, guys, let Ben know if y'all want to see anything added to SnapTrade. If you have anything you really want to see on SnapTrade, let Ben know, man. He's one of the owners here, so they really want people's input. They're trying to make it the best site they can. So let him know, man. If you want to see anything, changed, added to SnapTrade, reach out to him. He's here. Yeah, for sure, DSP. That a few days back it had a good spike off of press release, but aside from that, I mean, I think it's a little extended still, but we'll see what happens with it. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna run to the restroom, and then we can look up news. And so give me a second. I'll be right back. Oh man, I've been muted here talking to myself this whole time, guys. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, guys. I've been muted this entire time. I've been sitting here talking to myself, going over the news, looking like a dummy. I'm sorry, guys. I've been talking to myself. Man, that's crazy. Okay, so again, like I said, PYX. I've been sitting here talking to myself. Shout out to Netron. Man, all right, so VSTM had a serious catalyst here. I've been talking to myself, guys. VSTM, not only did it have good earnings, but it also had its first regulatory approval from the U.S. FDA. And so VSTM had a real catalyst, but it's still up so much already. It doesn't make me a little worrisome. It's just, with this legit of a catalyst, I got to be a little bit careful, just because, FDA approval's serious, and so this thing could squeeze up today. We'll see what happens. Let's see. PYX had bad earnings. Let me find it. Total sales and operating revenues for PYX decreased 11.7% to $394.9 million compared to the same year prior. Gross profit went down almost 30%, 29% to $49.2 million. Net loss was $54.6 million. And so, bad earnings and revenue for PYX. And so we'll see what happens with it. Also looking at, what was the other one? RSLS was a 1 to 140 reverse split. And so we'll see what happens with this one. Not tradable, but maybe keep an eye on it on one of my other brokers. Also looking at the cannabis stocks. Yeah, man, got to go all the way back over, man. I've been sitting here talking to myself for seriously like 10 minutes, People are leaving the stream, like, wondering why it's just silent in here. But no stress. It happens, man. It happens, I got to remember to unmute myself. And so, yeah, I'm going to look up the cannabis stock, see what's going on in that world right now, see maybe why it pushed up so much. Yeah, so the cannabis stocks are up after the midterm results and Jeff Sessions' resignation. He was definitely opposed to the whole cannabis industry, and so with him resigning, it should be good for the industry. We'll see what happens. SGMS popping up on my scanners here. Low volume gap up. We'll see SESN. SESN doesn't look bad. Not tradable, but it's gapping up some. RUBI maybe, but still low volume. But yeah, main watch is VSTM, ARRS, NIOCRON, PYX, ROKU. Oh, we can look at ROKU real quick as well. Big gap down for ROKU. You see big gap down. I'm guessing it's earnings. Most of the time when a stock does this, it's earnings. So we could look up ROKU real quick. Yeah, fourth quarter guidance. It had stronger. ROKU actually had stronger than expected top and bottom line results for the third quarter. They reportedly losing 9 cents a share in the quarter on revenue of $173.4 million. But it's guidance that's really hurting this one right now. Let me see if I can find it. But for fourth quarter earnings, ROKU said it expects to earn in a range from, man, get out the way, ads popping up, from a loss of $4 million to a profit of $3 million versus analyst estimates of a profit of $7 million. So guidance for the fourth quarter is what ultimately is causing ROKU to gap down like this. Lower than expected profit bigger expected loss for the fourth quarter guidance, and so that's why ROKU's gapping down some. We'll see what happens here. It's usually a pretty volatile stock, so we'll see. But yeah, main watch is VSTM, CRONNIOPYX, and maybe a few other ones. So I'm keeping an eye on today. Oh yeah, ACB. Yeah, ACB is one of the cannabis stocks I just recently started to look at, just because some people were mentioning it yesterday. All right, it's 5 minutes into the open, guys. Really gonna start to, really just gonna start to kind of hang out and get ready, start visualizing the open and stuff. So. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, definitely looking for a fade on VSTM. It had a really good catalyst, but it's up so much already. I mean, if you think about it, it's up from around $5 all the way up to 630s now in the last day. So we'll see what happens here. Hey, appreciate the sign up, man. Appreciate the sign up. I see we have a new sign up. Let's see. Soup, I think, signed up, so appreciate that, brother. What's up, Mitch? Yeah, brother. Dual monitor. Yeah, camping. I mean, look, you can see me. If I drag, you can only see one chart here, but I mean, look, if I drag, I've got a lot more charts up here. I have 3 monitors, actually. I have 227 inches on both sides, and then I have a 34-inch widescreen as my main monitor that the stream shows. What's up, Jason? What's up, man? Yeah, long time no see, brother. Yeah, I think I've showed people my setup before. Let me see if I can pull it up here. I mean, if you go to my Twitter page, you can see it. Like, yeah, if you go to my Twitter page, these are my monitors. You know, and so I'm happy with my little monitor setup. What's up, Tiny? Yeah, man, I think my wife's gonna, scream at me. I think my wife's gonna yell at me if I try to buy another monitor. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes, so just get ready for the open, guys. Just take it slow, visualize. Don't force anything. Always have a plan. Just try to take it slow. Yeah, man, my wife. I mean, I bought this third monitor. My wife can't really say too much because, I pay the bills, but, I wouldn't say she was necessarily happy when I bought this third one. Only traders will really understand it, though. You know what I mean? Like, there's something just really cool about having all these monitors. And it helps me just observe the market, especially for streaming, Like for streaming, on the left side, on my left monitor, I can keep track of the stream, follow along with the chat and everything like that. On the main monitor, I can trade with, and then on my right one, I can look at charts, and so it works out perfect. I'm using the Blue Snowball. The Snowball mic is what I'm using. It's a good mic. It's super sensitive. All right, guys. So 3 green days in a row. We'll see if I can have a 4th today. But no stress. I'm just going to stick to my plans. If they don't work out, they don't work out. Yesterday, I started using a little bit bigger sizing with 200 shares. We'll see how today goes. But yeah, we'll hopefully keep the streak going. But if not, no stress either. Just going to stick to my plan. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. What's up, Abby? Good morning. Bell's about in 15 minutes. There's the bell. Here, let me pull up the other trade ideas monitors. All right, so here's the momentum scanners here. So, man, look at VSTM dropping quick here. I mean, big drop already for VSTM. Look at this drop. Thus is why I'm usually short biased when I see a big gap up like this. It just happened so quick, though. Man, look at this drop. Look at VSTM just completely fill the gap already. The closing price was right around 585. This thing's dropped all the way basically down to there. Quick gap fill. CRON, big drop as well. CGC dropping. NIO not really moving some. ACB dropping. Roku popping up. But man, look at that drop on VSTM. Of course. Solar. I think everybody has, man. Alright, so Cron, I'm looking at a fade if it pulls back to this 944 level. Tight risk of about 953 here. Reward target would be at least down to 930 right here. Let's see. Kind of looking at it for VSTM as well. If it gets up to 621, risk of 633, reward level of 6. And so about a 12-cent risk with a 20-cent reward. Not bad. Gonna watch that one. BSTM looks interesting here. Popped up too quick. See if the spread's gonna even out some. Ugh. Looks good. Such a quick drop for VSTM. Let's see if it pulls back there. Needs to get up a little bit higher here for the fade. Man. Maybe hesitated a little bit. There's 21s. 18s. I want to see it. It has to get up to 620 for it to be good risk reward. We'll see if it gives it to me or not, or if it fades before then. I already faded once already. Oh. Would have been a nice trade. A little bit too late now, though. But perfect setup for VSTM. Maybe hesitated a little. But beautiful fade there. Thus is why it's my favorite strategy. But man, that's my fault. Hesitated a little bit too much. Was going to let it test a little bit more, but it just happened too quick. But perfect fade there. Look at AMRN, man. AMRN's just getting hit. No, RSLS is not tradable, unfortunately. But man, look at this beautiful fade for VSTM. That hurts. Wow. If you guys want to see what a perfect fade is, this is a perfect fade. Definitely, definitely maybe a little bit of FOMO coming here for VSTM, because look at that beautiful drop. This is just the perfect fade, man. Like I said, this is the one I was watching, but man, got to be quick, and was not quick for that one. Yeah, man, it was beautiful, man. Look at this fade. I mean, this is why the VWAP fade is such a good strategy. This is why I love it so much. It's because I get in at 620. I can set a risk of 632, right? 12-cent risk. Rewards at least down to the low of the day at like 590s. And so it's 2-to-1. But then look at this drop when it actually breaks under my first reward target. Just a beautiful drop all the way down to 550s. And I'm not going to chase it, but beautiful drop. Definitely looked good here. Cron, it's a little spready, but I'm looking at Cron at this point. Risk would have to be 52s. And so if it gets up to 50s, it doesn't look bad. But also could be a washout long incoming. That's the only thing I don't like about this one. Cron I don't like as much. The reason I don't like it is because you could see CGC here. Like if I pull up CGC, which is another cannabis stock, it's breaking the high of day. And so I think Cron may start to actually run here based off of sympathy, but we'll see. But a lot of fades today, honestly, guys. I'm seeing ROKU fade. I'm seeing AMRN right around the VWAP. I'm not trading AMRN. It's one of those stocks I just ignore. But yeah, definitely a little bit of FOMO here for VSTM. I have to understand myself well enough to know that missing this is better than a loss. But, man, my plan would have been exactly worked out perfect. But it happens. Not gonna let it affect me too much here though. ROKU faded nicely. You know, watching VSTM, see if it bounces back to that $6 level. If it bounces back there, I could set a tight risk. The range is a lot bigger on it now after this big monstrous drop, and so risk level could be 25 cents. Reward level. I appreciate the sub, Anonymous. All right, so if VSTM gets up to 590s, I could set a tight risk there. Gotta let it work. Yeah, I don't mind that one, Outsiders. I like it because it not only is it maybe a VWAP fade, but it also could be a $0.50 rejection there, so I don't mind that one. Oh, gotta turn this volume down. Appreciate the sub, Pedro. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. Man, you can see why VSTM is like my favorite strategy. This type of fade, beautiful fade, big drop, beautiful pullback to the VWAP here, and then just a fade back down. Pretty fade. It's if you trade them for long enough, you'll be able to admire the prettiness, I guess, if that's a word, of these setups. And VSTM was definitely a pretty one. It's what I would consider an A+. Big gap up. Beautiful pullback to the VWAP, tight risk, big follow through, so A+ setup right there. Now at this point, all I can really do, since I missed this big drop, is see if it pulls back again to the 590 level. Big if, it would have to find some support at the $0.50 of 550, which it may not here. It may just continue to tank. But that's about what I'm watching for this one now. Also, if anybody's interested in checking out the broker I'm using TradeNet, which is TEFs. If anybody's interested in checking out TEFs, I do have a link that gets you 10% off any package you choose. I'll go ahead and post that link now. I make a small commission from it, but it's one of the ways I keep the stream free. And so if you're interested in checking out the broker I use, the way it works is you pay for a package. It's not a deposit. In my case, I paid for the intro or for the student package, which is $2,700 when I bought it. And with that, they give me $80,000 in buying power, and I have a $4,000 max loss. And so I'm actually getting over $1,000 extra to lose with my max loss on this. Any profit I make over that original 80K, there's a 70-30 profit split. And so there is a profit split. It's similar to a prop firm. But even if you don't have that much money for the student account, there is the intro account, which is typically $500, and you get $14,000 in buying power, and you have a $700 max loss. But if you go through my link, it's $450 instead of $500. You still get the $700 max loss. And so if you think about it, you're actually getting an extra $250 to lose. And what I really like about it is that there's cheap commissions. I calculated it earlier. If I buy 200 shares, commission's like less than $4. And so super cheap commissions. Really like that about them. Anything that's tradable, I can short. Biggest flaw is that some stocks are not tradable. And so you do want to understand that, is that some stocks are not tradable, but they do a decent job of adding certain stocks to trade. Like they added NBEV back, VSTM was tradable, Cron's tradable, NIO, PYX. And so a lot of stocks are tradable, but there are some that aren't. You do want to understand that. No, there's no PDT rule. Yeah, there's no PDT rule. I can trade as much as I want. Yeah, CRON maybe faked you out a little bit, outsiders. We'll see. But man, look at that drop on VSTM. Would have been a beautiful trade. Just hesitated a little bit. At this point, I'm also looking at ROKU. I would have to take a little bit smaller sizing just because it has a little bit bigger range. But if it pulls back, I could set a tight risk of 47s with a reward target of the low of the day. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at now. Still keeping an eye on VSTM, see if it pulls back to this level here. The VWAP is what I'm looking at 580. If it pulls back there, I could set a pretty tight risk at this point of 597 maybe. Maybe $6 probably just to keep it at the whole dollar. But that's a big if it pulls back that far. Yeah, there's no PDT rule. It's squirrel. Donald, I'm in Texas, man. Yeah, I'm in the Houston area, brother. I mean, yeah, we have classes every night, but our classes, like, we're not experts. We're not trying to be gurus or experts or anything like that. We're just teaching people the system that we trade. It revolves around risk and reward in your trades. Like you see here, like any trade I'm looking at, before I even jump into it, I'm looking at where my risk is, where my potential reward is, what my overall plan is for the trade. And that's really what we teach. Anybody could teach strategies. Most strategies are available for free online. And like I said, if you go to my website, the strategies are there for free too. But I think the real gains are going to start coming when you give yourself consistently good risk and reward in those trades. Like if you consistently give yourself twice as much reward than your risk, and the support and resistance areas confirm that, then your accuracy doesn't have to be as high. Like I've had 3 green days in a row. Yesterday I had break-even accuracy. I had 1 losing trade, 1 winning trade, but my winning trade was twice as big as my losing trade. And so It's all about risk and reward, I think, in trading. And I think it's bizarre when people don't actually, like, a lot of people teach and they charge ridiculous amounts of money for it. And they never really mention risk and reward. They might teach risk management, but there's a difference. What's up, Daniel? Yeah, H-Town, brother. Right, 100%, Donald. Yeah, Mitch is actually in Florida. Mitch is my partner. He's not here today. He's at work, but he does the classes with me every night. He's in Florida as well. NBEV. Yeah, I'm looking at the cannabis stock start to tank here. Yeah, I'm seeing Twitter. I like Twitter's risk and reward. Like, if you get in around 34.77, your risk can be 34.83. At least for me, that's what I'm looking at. And so, tight risk. If anybody wants to see what I'm looking at with Twitter. If it pulls back here, you could set your risk at this level, your reward at this level, the low of the day. And so, your risk is from 77 to 83, so 6 cent risk. If you want to give it up here, it could even be an 8 cent risk, and your reward is from 77 down to 60. And so about 17, 16 cent reward, about 8 cent max risk is what I would look for with this one. So I don't mind that. Big if, though. I really don't like trading these little bit more blue chip stocks just because they're a little bit healthier companies, and as a short trader, you know, I usually look for terrible companies. But I don't necessarily dislike it for Twitter. You got me thinking about Twitter as well. Not because not because you're calling it out, but because the risk will be tight on that one. We'll see. Let's see if that risk level up gave it holds. Either 86 or 83. We'll see which one holds. I don't really mind either risk levels, but there's 86. See if 86 holds. Nope. Hmm. 86 is trying to hold. At this point, I'm looking at VSTM though. See if it bounces back up to the 70s. That's where I'm going to consider it. Maybe NBEV if it can get up to 82. I like the risk there too. A lot of times, why not? I use pre-market levels. Mitch trades more long than I do. Why not? And he likes to teach triangles, wedges, pattern breakdowns, and stuff for longs. Yeah, it looks just like a big reversal on Twitter. At this point, I'm just looking at VSTM, see if we can get up to 575s. I won't mind it there. Yeah, VSTM, I mean, like I said, I'm looking for it really with VSTM. I missed the first fade on it, but I'm looking for it to get up here. If it gets up to 575, I could set a risk level of maybe $6, so like a 26 cent risk. But my reward target would be at least down to, 540. So 35 cent reward, but preferably 520s. And so 65 cent reward if I set it at the low of the day, which is usually what I like doing. Maybe could take profits if it gets down to the 540s, but Don't mind the risk and reward at that point. But it's a big if it gets back up there, and I'm not going to chase it down here because in order for me to have that good risk and reward, it would have to get up to 575 or 574 specifically. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, NIO is kind of like my long setup, or NIO is a good example of my long setup. It's basically the opposite of a VWAP fade, right? Like a VWAP fade, bearish trend at the open, pulls back to the VWAP and then washes out, kind of like what you see here for VSTM. But there's an opposing long trade that is very similar. Bullish trend at the open, pulls back to the VWAP, and then continues on the breakout, which is what you see NIO doing. So it's kind of like the opposite of the VWAP fade is what I look for. I have this strategy in the strategy section of the site too. We have a few long and short strategies there where we just talk about what we look for. But yeah, I can't lie. I'm pretty bummed out I missed VSTM this morning. It was just a perfect example. I usually only trade VWAP fades just because they're what has given me the best results thus far. Like I said, 3 green days in a row. Was hoping to keep it going today with the 4th, but I'm not going to force anything. At this point, I am looking at NBEV. It is now tradable, and if it pulls back, let me try to calculate this really quickly. If it pulls back to 482, I could set a risk of either 87 here or 89 as my risk. So 5-cent risk or 7-cent risk, and my reward could be maybe down to the 460s. It's got to get up there though. What's up, Milan? What's up, brother? Chilling, man, chilling. Hanging out, looking for some setups here. $78s. We'll see if we can get up here, man. Looking forward to get up to 79s. It's got to get up there, though. I'm not going to chase it below that. Just not giving me my entry. Just need to get a little bit higher. I wanted that better risk and reward, but I just don't know if it's going to give it to me or not. See a lot of big orders coming in on the sell side on the level 2. You can see a 10,000 order here at 75, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a drop here. We'll see. On the time and sales. Twitter just went into a complete full reversal there. Yeah, there's the drop I kind of called out. Yeah, I could just look at the time and sales and see those big orders coming in. And so I could have taken the trade, but I wanted that better risk reward at 82, and it just didn't give it to me. And that's okay. I'm just sticking to my plans here. Not going to chase anything out of fear, out of FOMO or anything like that. Just sticking to my plans as best I could. What does he get up to? 83s. My P&L on the week. Yesterday I made about, not that much, like $13, $14 gross. The day before I made $12 gross. So about 20, 30 bucks on the week. I'll have to look at it after here. I think I've only traded twice this week. And so I didn't trade the day before yesterday. Just because I didn't see anything I liked. Yeah, for sure, Chad. I mean, listen, what I'm making doesn't matter, right? What I'm making doesn't matter. It's just about it has to do with my accuracy rate, and it has to do with if I'm getting in good trades or not, which I think I have this week. I've been pretty selective. Not saying it's the market's fault. I just haven't. A lot of these days, I haven't seen ideal setups. Today was kind of a beautiful day for VSTM. Like I said, maybe a little FOMO for missing that one. But, it's just about getting in good setups. It doesn't matter how much I make. It doesn't matter anything. None of that matters. Like, all that matters is if I'm getting in good trades. Like Mitch talked about it the other day, like a lot of people correlate it too much. And if you're trying to grow as a trader, it's not about how much you make. It's about if you're getting in good trades or not. You can have a bad trade that makes money and it's still a bad trade, or you can have a good trade that loses you money and it's still a good trade. Nothing's going to work 100% of the time, and you just have to play the probabilities. If you consistently give yourself more reward than your risk, and you have a back-tested, reliable setup, then you can let the probabilities play out. Sometimes you're not always going to win. You're going to have losing weeks as well. But in the long run, it will even itself out and compensate for those losses. And so that's really what it's about. All right, so VSTM pulling up here. If it gets up to 570s, I'll definitely start considering it. Do you think the VWAP bounce works the exact same way as the VWAP fade? Not exactly. So, like, there's certain things with the VWAP bounce, right? A lot of times, it's going to happen with gapping down stocks, right? Like, for an example is NIO, right? NIO actually gapped down some, and you're going to use the pre-market levels, the pre-market highs a lot of the time with the fade. You can use, but you use the pre-market. I like to use the pre-market levels just as guidelines. So like, right, you can see all the support here on this VWAP fade. I could have used that support level as my risk, right? You get in around the VWAP on the pullback to the VWAP. Aside from that, I mean, I like to take profits at the same area. So instead of the low of the day for the VWAP fade, I like to take profits at the high of the day. So if I was in NIO, it would have been right here at the 665 level. And then let the rest work, maybe up to the pre-market high. So I think pre-market highs play a little bit bigger factor with the VWAP bounce, and the extension levels are kind of like reversed. Like with the VWAP fade, I like using it with gapping up stocks because I think they're a little bit more extended. A good example is VSTM today. Big gap up and just completely faded beautifully. A lot of times this happens where that's why I look for gapping up over extended stocks. A lot of traders, and I'm not even saying they're wrong because if they have a strategy that works, it works. But a lot of traders see a big gapping up stock and they're more long biased, where it's like I'm the opposite. If I see a stock gapping up, 10, 20, 30%, I'm definitely more short biased because I think the momentum is on the downside since it's up so much already. You know what I mean? And that's really what I look for with the fade. I also have to be careful though, because if a stock's not gapping up, or if there's not many gappers and the stock fades, I have to be a lot more careful with it. And so like my A+ setup is like what you see here with VSTM. I just hesitated a little bit this morning, but big gap up, over 10% gap up, big washout at the open. I like to see a big washout because, for instance, on the VSTM, like if it's big enough, when it pulls back to the VWAP, it's worked so hard to get back to the VWAP that it, like I said before, it has a little bit more momentum on the downside. And so you can see this big wash. And so it's just a good example of it. PYX. Yeah, and this is a good example. Like what you see here with PYX, right? You get a big gapping stock, the momentum's on the upside. And so what does PYX do? PYX bounces up, And so this happens a lot. And a lot of people play these, like a big gap down, a lot of people get long the next day. A big gap up, a lot of people get in short, which is what you see here with VSTM. Big gap up, people jump in short. A big gap down, people go in long. Because why? Because when it gaps down this much, the momentum's on the upside, Interesting, though, to see if it holds over 1850 here. Oh, for sure, Anik. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. The VWAP fade, people can hate on me and everything like that. But the VWAP fade's super legit, man. Even if if you're a scalper, it may be even better for a scalper because a lot of the time, the beautiful thing about the fade is, like, for instance, if you look at this chart, right? If I remove all these support and resistances, the beautiful thing about it is that if you set your reward targets at the right spot, so like for instance here, if I got in the VWAP fade going short at 620 right here, and I set my reward target at this low of the day area at 590, I can take a profit there. And then even if it bounces off of this low of the day right here, like a lot of the times the stock will do, I can still ride it up for a break-even trade. And so I'm protected in that trade if I take profits at the low of the day. And a lot of the time, the stock's at least going to come back down to test the low of the day. And so it only makes sense to take profit there. And that way, if the stock bounces up, I can get out for a break-even, small win, small loss. No stress. But if it does break down like VSTM did and gives me this really big wash, it's a much bigger winner. And so you're setting yourself up for success by taking profits at this low, just in case it does bounce. And if it doesn't bounce and actually cracks under it, it's going to be a big winner. And so you got to set yourself up for success. And it's just a practical way to approach the trade. It makes sense, And that's what I try to do on every trade. I take profits at the lows, let the rest work. My example from GOGO yesterday, exact same thing. GOGO yesterday, you can see this is the trade I made yesterday for a $20-something gain. But I got in here on this fade back to the VWAP up here at 714. I took a partial at the low of the day around 7, and then I let the rest work, and I ended up holding it all the way down to this 686 level here, and I, made a lot more. And so it just makes sense to approach the trade that way. Yeah, appreciate it, Anik. Yeah, man. I mean, it's why it's my favorite strategy. It's easily my favorite. It's what I usually look for in this market. So scalping strategies for long. I think the VWAP bounce is a good scalping strategy because I think a lot of the time it's going to at least pull back, or it's going to at least pull back up to the high of the day, even if it gets rejected there again. Pre-market highs come into play a lot for those as well, though, like I said. But, here's a good example on NIO, Missed my entry would have been down here. But same thing as the VWAP fade, except it's the opposite. It's kind of like the stock is upside down. Bullish trend at the open, pull back to the VWAP here. You get in here, setting yourself a tight risk, and then you take a partial at the high of the day. And that way, even if it comes back down, you're still safe. You can exit for a break-even trade. But if it does break out like NIO did here and continue to push up, you got a much bigger winner. And so it's the practical, logical way to approach those trades. And it's really it goes back to building a plan around each trade you get into. You got to build a plan with risk and reward levels around each trade you get into. If you're just jumping in blindly, revenge trading, forcing trades, you can't handle a loss, so you just keep jumping in with no plan. That's how new traders destroy their accounts. And you got to protect your accounts. You got to treat it like a baby. You got to protect that account. And so it's just about giving yourself a plan with each trade. Hey, yeah, no stress, man. Abdul, I'm telling you, it's a legitimate strategy. People can hate on it, but yeah, look at this one. SQ was beautiful. Look at this pullback to the VWAP. Perfect. Glad you nailed that one, Abdul. Nice work, brother. But look at that. Perfect. And even this one wasn't bad. It was a little far away from it, but even this one wasn't bad. But look at that fade right there. Beautiful fade. It happens so much in the market. I've been using this strategy for months. And, this is, I know I've said it before, but this is one of the strategies that I've actually back tested. Like, I've gone back a year in sample size and marked down how many times the VWAP fade worked when my conditions were there, and marked down how many times it did not work. And the VWAP fade, when I back tested it, had a 73% accuracy rate. 73%. And so a really high accuracy rate. And it usually presents you with good risk and reward. And so when you combine that, it just makes it a really nice strategy. Yeah, no stress, Anik. Appreciate the support, man. Like, I'm just about transparency here. Like, I just try to be honest with people. You know what I mean? I think I think a lot of people don't stream because it can really hurt their brand, you know? And so I just try to be honest with people, wins or losses. But what I don't do, a lot of people cherry pick their trades. They cherry pick their winners. You know, all they'll ever post is winners. And then, you know, if they do live stream, coincidentally enough, you know, the green streak all of a sudden ends. And, you know, I just try to be transparent with people. You know, there's too many charlatans in the trading world to not be honest with people, you know? And so I just try to tell people how it really is, you know. We live stream, so we can't hide anything. Yeah, for sure, two-way trader, man. The problem is like, I never mention names. I'm not trying to start fights with anybody. I just think it's funny, you know. Like people will post nothing but green days for weeks. You know what I mean? And then as soon as they start live streaming, coincidentally, they start taking big losses after they hadn't had a losing trade in 3 weeks, according to them. Like, that's cherry picking trades. Like, they're, you know, if you have 4 losses and 1 win, they'll upload that winner, hide their profit and loss, hide their account balance, and just upload that winner and try to pretend to be profitable. You know, it's a big problem in the trading world, and that's why, you know, you just got to be honest with people. Like, that's what I think my channel has going for it, is that I'm just honest with people. You know, if I lose, last week was a tough week, and that's okay, you know. But I'm honest with people about it. I'm not going to try to pretend like I haven't had a losing trade in 3 weeks, because I have, you know. All right, NBEV got back up to the VWAP fade. At this point, the only reason I don't like this is because at this point, I think the pattern actually looks a little bit bullish, right? It's putting in higher lows. You can see this. Higher low. And so I actually think it looks like a little bit of a bullish pattern. What I really like to see with the fade is a quick pullback to the VWAP. I don't want to see a flag back to the VWAP, because then, I mean, obviously it can take off. I want to see a quick pullback to the VWAP like this. You know, like GOGO right here. Just a quick bounce to the VWAP. Same thing with VSTM. Quick bounce to the VWAP. When it kind of stair steps up to the VWAP, I don't trust it as much. But just a quick pullback with only one or two candles. What's my opinion on Ross from Warrior Trading? I mean, I think Ross is a good trader. You know, I also think Ross is relatively honest about it. I honestly, here's the thing. I don't really know. You know what I mean? I don't really know. If you don't live stream, you really don't know how good of a trader somebody is. You know, and you kind of just have to go with what they tell you, which is, you know, I'm not going to say it's good or bad. I think most people do that. I think the stuff he teaches is legitimate. I think the patterns and stuff he teaches are real, and I respect the free content he puts out there, and so I'm not hating on him by any means, but, you know, like I said, you never really know. If they don't live stream their trades, you really don't know. You know, it's really easy to cherry pick your winners. You know, it's really easy to have 3 losing trades and two winning trades, and then just upload the 2 winning trades and pretend like you didn't lose at all. It's just too easy to do that. And so I think, you know, I'm just kind of maybe a purist, as you would say. Just I like live streaming everything, wins and losses, you know. I mean, two-way trader, I'm not, like, here's the thing, like, I'm super careful with it. Like, I'm not trying to be a hater, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to hate on anybody, you know? Let them do them. I'm not mad at them. You know, but like I said, I'm a little bit of a purist in trading. I think if you're going to be on YouTube, you should live stream your trades, especially if you're sitting there trading the market anyway. Like, why not live stream? Just be honest with people. But don't pretend like, you know, you haven't had a losing trade in 3 weeks. Like, that's ridiculous, man. You know, it's one thing to go 3 weeks without having a losing day. It's another thing to go 3 weeks without having a losing trade, especially day trading. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. Yeah, Ross scalps a lot of the time, Mark. Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I don't have any. I think what they teach is real stuff. You know, Like I think I know Ross teaches like the 1 minute pullback. I love that strategy, the 1 minute pullback. It's one of my favorite long strategies. You know, pre-market high breaks. Like they teach real stuff. You know, I'm not hating on them whatsoever. I think it's good content, good value. You know, am I gonna spend $3,000 on a day trading course? Probably not. You know, but it's all relative. You know, if you have the money, you know, do it. If not, no stress. So yeah, I mean, NBEV faded. It did fade, you know. Like I said though, this little bearish bullish trend kind of scared me out of it, which is okay. But NIO still running, man. Yeah, Wheel, man. I'm feeling a little bit of FOMO on VSTM. I've been a little bit more selective this week, and that's okay. I think that's a good lesson for traders too, is that you don't have to trade every day. When you try to force trades and just jump in everything, you know, you're setting yourself up to fail. You know, I just try to be super selective. I missed my entry on VSTM, so I'm not going to let that affect me and make me force trades trying to win back money I missed out on. I'm just going to look for my setup. If it's there, I'll take it. If not, no stress, you know. Yeah, Amy, I'm watching it. It's on my other monitor. You can see here. NIO. I got NIO pulled up here and watching it. Big run, man. Nice little VWAP bounce there. No, Dollar. I'm not in anything right now, man. I missed my trade on VSTM. I didn't really like the way NBEV was setting up, and so you know, I'm just hanging out right now. One I am kind of bummed out I missed. I kind of stopped focusing on it, but ROKU, if you were watching the stream earlier, this is one that I said I was looking at for the fade here. You know, I was looking at for the fade here, and it faded beautifully. I didn't quite get down to the low of the day, but got close enough. I would have probably taken profits already, but no stress. The reason I liked it, risk could be here. Reward could be here. And so this is my risk in this trade if I would have gotten into it. This is my reward. Oh, that's my reward. And so that's what you look for. But yeah, like I said, I just stopped focusing on it. It's a little bit too expensive for my style anyway, but it faded nicely. VKTX. All right, let me check it out. VKTX, I'm looking at it. It's actually right here. But I'll pull it up on my main monitor and look at it, or my main screen and look at it. To be honest, it just looks like it's not really any. I wouldn't say it's reliable right now. It's just kind of a choppy kind of fake out patterns for it thus far. I mean, interesting level here if it holds support at 14, but little dare I say unpredictable at this point for VKTX. You know, it's just not. It's not something I'm really excited to jump into just because it looks a little choppy. You can see a lot of big down wicks went up, down, up, back down, and so just a little weird. You know, for that reason, a little hesitant to trade it. A fake out is like when it pulls all the way back to this low down here, and it looks like it may break this low and keep going down, and then it just bounces off of the support. Not really the best example of a fake out, but maybe when it breaks underneath the VWAP, which would signify a trend change to a downward trend, and then it just bounces back up. You know, it just looks a little unpredictable for my style of trading. How do I calculate risk and reward? So risk and reward is all subjective. It's what we kind of teach in our classes. Like risk and reward is all subjective, right? Like people are going to set their risk and reward levels at different spots than you are, but you just use the chart, you know. Like a lot of time with the fade, your risk is going to be around the high of the day. I don't like it as much when your risk is there because a lot of times if it does break that high of the day, you could really get squeezed up for shorts. But it's all subjective. A lot of times, especially, so one thing you'll see is that for the VWAP fade specifically, right? A lot of times you're going to be trading it in stocks that are gapping up. And so when you're trading it in stocks that are gapping up, the pre-market levels are going to kind of guide you in risk and reward. You know, you'll have those pre-market levels to map out and see where your potential risk and reward is and so forth and so on. Like if you look at VSTM here, you can see it had a lot of support here in pre-market. You can see all the support it had here, and that was also the high of the open. And so that's a very obvious risk level at 632. Potential reward level is usually what I usually just use the low of the day as my reward. And so, you know, from 620 to 633 is about a 13-cent risk. From 620 to 592 is what about 28-cent reward? So about a 12-cent risk, 28-cent reward, better than 2 to 1. Like that's kind of how I do it. But pre-market levels are going to come into play. I kind of use them to guide me in the risk and reward. Right. I mean, that's in a nutshell. That's what it is, Donald. Yeah, I mostly short portraits. Not Jared. I've been watching Silicon Valley too much. Mitch goes long a lot more than I do. Pop it up on the scanner though. MYOS. Nah, not really any volume. PRSS. NVLN. Yeah, look at NVLN go. Wow, look at this one. Another little VWAP bounce here, though, you can see. All right, so here's VSTM at the VWAP. All I can really do is look at my risk and reward at this point for this one. 65 to 90. What is that? 25-cent risk. 70 to 90. That'd be about a 20-cent risk. Reward would maybe be down to 40s. But like I said, it looks like it's almost changing here. The reason I don't like it, for VWAP fade, I like a quick bounce to the VWAP. This is like a stair step to the VWAP, you know. And although it looked kind of good on NBEV, I don't like the stair stepping action here. You know, up. You see the stair stepping action, I just don't like that. I'm not saying it's not going to work. It could very easily fade back down. You know, when it's worked its way up here, it may have a little bit more momentum on the downside. But not going to force it. Been faked out too much with these stair step actions. A lot of times, yes, Michael. Look at PYX go, man. But yeah, look at ROKU. Like I said, beautiful little fade there. Missed out on that one too. I think I got to start waking up a little bit earlier. Get a little bit more ready. I know, Justin. Yeah, man. I mean, I got it easy for sure. I mean, the market opens up at 8:30 for me. So I got to get up at like 6:45. But, I mean, I have kids anyway. So, like, my kids are up at like 6. And so, appreciate the sub, Sean. Welcome, brother. Appreciate it, man. NVLN halted. We'll see where it goes here, man. Beautiful. My GOGO put is looking pretty spot on right now. So I'm in GOGO here. And honestly, I've been having pretty good success with this strategy. You know, I've had a few misses with it, but, you know, this strategy has been working fairly well with put options, just short options. So, like, what I do is I look for overextended stocks on the daily chart. I bought this put option up here at 770 with a 550 strike price. And I have a month to let this thing work, but it's been working fairly well. I just look for overextended stocks on the daily chart. I look for put options for really cheap. In this case, I think I paid $18 for this put option on GOGO. And you can see I'm up almost 20. I'm actually up 20 already. I might sell it here, though. Bank my 100% profit on this one really quick. So I think I will do that, actually. Oh, no, cancel. I don't want to buy. Go. There we go. What? There we go. All right, so I made my basically 100% profit on GOGO here. Not bad, I'll take it. 100% relative to what I invested in it. Oh, did NVLN resume? It did. Gap down. Abdul, I just look at the daily chart, man. So, like, with GoGo here, let me clear this drawing set. Yeah, I only spent $20 on that option. I made 40, so 100% gain relative to what I invested in that trade. But yeah, I just look for overextended stocks on the daily chart with resistance above, right? And so I shorted the stock around $8 at like 780. And right, why did I short it, or why did I buy that put option? Is because at $8 it had all this support, and so that usually turns into resistance. And it was pretty overextended. You can see this big move up. And I mean, think about it like this, right? If I could spend $20 betting on the chance that this stock is going to at least drop back down to these levels here in a month's time, I'm going to take that bet every time. You know, it's just, it makes sense, you know. I also did the same thing with Trivago, TRVG, and I bought the put option here, and I sold it down here and made a decent amount on that one as well. Why did I do that? Is because it had that resistance here. It had that support on the daily chart here. It was overextended in the last week. And, you know, I was able to write it down. Same type of trade. This strategy, I can't talk. It's been working really well. You know, definitely having pretty high accuracy with it. And it makes sense. You know, it goes back to why I day trade. Like, why I short overextended stocks in day trading is because they're overextended. You know, if I see a stock gap up 20, 30, 40%, you know, I'm going to be short biased with it because a lot of times it's going to fill that gap. It's going to come right back down, you know. For which broker, though, Camping? What do you mean, Netron? Think or swim. You have to. Okay, so look, I'll show you real quick. Camping. So you do this, right? You pull up Active Trader, and you click the little sprocket here, and you put in auto send on and off, and you move that up, and then you click auto send, and so that way you can just click sell or buy, and it automatically fills your order. Got it? Oh. Got it, camping? That's how you do it, is you yeah, no stress. I'm actually down on it so far, Google. Last week was tough, and I haven't been trading much, but relative to, it's down to 835, so down 100 and something bucks. But relative to the sizing, I've just been trying to get ready to use bigger sizing on it. I haven't been trading as much, but last 3 days have been green. I think, like I said, last week was a tough week. Kind of a dull market for my style. Not that many fades, and maybe forced a little bit too many trades last week. And so this week, I guess I'm trying to compensate for it, be a little bit more selective. So is it halted again? NVLN is halted again. LCI popping up on my scanners. Yeah, for sure, Google. I mean, here's, like I always say, though, it's not about how much I'm making. I'm just trying to get in good trades. And I think one thing that really hurts me is using smaller sizing because, like, for instance, the last 3 months, I've actually been up. Like, I've had way more green weeks than I have red, at least in gross profits. But since my sizing has been small, it doesn't show as well. You know what I mean? And so the only hurdle I really need to get over as a trader is just using bigger sizing, and just that's why I got the student account. I started to do that last week, but I think last week wasn't the right week for it, which is my fault. And so you'll see me start using bigger sizing. Haven't been trading today. I didn't trade today, but I've been trying to work my way up to 200 and 300 shares. Yesterday I used 200 shares, but just trying to slowly work my way up. But I think that as a trader, that's the only hurdle I really need to get over until I'm good. My accuracy rate is there. My profit week after week is there. It's just my sizing's too small, and that's tough to, buy 100 shares and compensate for commissions, even if you're profitable. So that's what it is so far. Uh, Seriously considering it. I have a question about the losses though. Is it cumulative or is it static based on the initial account balance? Um, what do you mean? Losses? So it's based on the account balance, right? So like if I bought the intro account, in the intro account they gave me 14,000 in buying power with the intro account, and there's a $700 max loss. That 700 max loss does not follow you up, right? So that max loss stays at 13,300. So for instance, if you make $1,000 in profit and bring your account up to 15,000 as opposed to 14,000, your max loss is effectively 1,700 as opposed to 700. So it doesn't follow you up. It stays for the intro account. It stays at 13,300. So it's not going to follow you up. So I'm using TradeNet. Here, I'll get to your question in a second, Google. But yeah, no, I'm using TradeNet, and so with TradeNet, I'm using the student account. The student account was $2,700 for me. I got it during a sale, and with that, they gave me $4,000 max, a $4,000 max loss, and 80K in buying power. So big buying power with a $4,000 max loss. But there's also the student account, and I do have a link that gets you 10% off the student account, and so instead of $500, it's $450. And with that, you get $14,000 in buying power with a $700 max loss. And you're paying for that package. It's not a deposit, but you're getting, like for instance, you spend $450 or $500 on the intro account, you're actually getting $700 or $750 to lose, or $700 to lose. And so you're actually getting more to lose than you are actually paying for it. And so for that reason, it makes sense. Cheap commissions as well. But there's the link. If anybody's interested in signing up to TradeNet, that link will get you 10% off. I do make a small commission from it, but it's one of the ways I keep the live stream free. And so go check it out if you're interested. How do I find overextended stocks? The daily chart, Nicholas. It all depends, though. Like, if I see a stock gap up over 10%, I consider that extended on the intraday chart. And so for the VWAP fades, that's really what I do is I look for gapping stocks. I look for gapping stocks preferably over 10%, and then I'll consider that extended. I also use the daily chart, especially with like the option trades I've been doing. And, like you want to see some extended charts, look at YECO. We went over parabolic movers the other day in class. But like if you look at some of these daily charts, this is a kind of thing in the market that happens so much, right? You get a big moving stock. This stock goes from $1.14 up to $17.87, and then what happens? It gives a majority of that back. Same thing with PTI. This stock goes from $2 up to $10. What does it do? It gives most of that back, drops down to $5. Same thing with, what's another one recently? I'm drawing a blank. But these happen so much in the market. A lot of times it's from hot sectors booming. 4,000, Jeff. Yeah, so I have a much bigger max loss. Yeah, no stress, Nicholas. But yeah, I mean, Google, here's the thing. Like I said, like if you look at my accuracy rate's there. My accuracy rate right now is probably about 65% in the last few months. But for that reason, it's really about sizing for me. Like, right, like you'll see like on my winning days, I'll end up like $20, and commissions play a big role in that. And so I think when I size up a little bit more, like when I can get myself up to 400 or 500 shares, commissions aren't going to be as big of a deal since the sizing's bigger, the gains are going to be bigger, and I think that's when it's really going to start showing. At this point, like I said, that's the hurdle in my trading right now. I just need to get up to that bigger sizing. It's a process, man, and it's an emotional process, and that's really what I have to get over as a trader, I started live trading years ago, Michael. First account I ever had was a SureTrader account, and I lost that thing in like quick, which I think most new traders do. Yeah, appreciate it, Google. But yeah, I think most new traders do that. I think most new traders lose their few accounts, and I think it's not necessary, but I think it can be beneficial because it'll teach you risk management quick. The biggest flaw for new traders is they jump in using too big of sizing. There's nothing wrong with taking small sizing, buying 10, 20, 30 shares on a cheap broker and just trading that way until you show consistent gains. Because if you can make $10 a day, with, 50 shares, you can make 100,000, 10,000, whatever it is with bigger sizing. You just got to be consistent first. And so it only makes sense to take it slow, use small sizing, show consistent gains, and only then move up in sizing. At least that's my mentality on it. But yeah, only thing I missed today, bummed out I missed, is VSTM. Called it out in pre-market, was ready for it, just didn't pull the, just didn't jump in. But beautiful fade there. A lot of fades today. I mean, I don't want to tell you whether you should or shouldn't. For liability reasons, I don't want to tell you whether you should or shouldn't, man. I'm more of a day trader, so I don't know if you should invest in them or not. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close it down, guys. You know, nothing wrong with just observing the market. Didn't trade today, no stress. Haven't had a losing day though since last Thursday, and so I'll take that. 3 green days in a row. Wasn't able to get a 4th one today, but didn't trade at all. So we'll see if I can have all green day week. If I can finish strong tomorrow, that's all week with no red days, and so we'll see how that goes. I've started to backtest the VWAP bounce. I haven't had as much time lately with classes and stuff, but I've started to backtest the VWAP bounce, and it's been pretty promising. There's certain conditions with each strategy that I look for. With the VWAP fade, it's overextension. Overextension, tight risk. With the VWAP bounce, it is a cross over the VWAP, and basing it off of the pre-market high a lot of the time with the VWAP bounce is kind of the conditions I look for, but there's certain ones. No, I never heard of him, Jason. Before I go, though, check out Trade Ideas. Shout out to Trade Ideas for letting me stream their scans. I really appreciate them doing that. Really, cool scanner for traders to take advantage of. Regardless of what your niche is in the market, you can typically build a scan around your strategy with Trade Ideas. And so a really awesome scanner. Go check them out. I know they have like trials and stuff like that, so you can go check out Trade Ideas. And yeah, shout out to them. They're cool enough to let me stream these scans. And so really appreciate Trade Ideas. Definitely makes my morning a little bit easier with these scanners. So go check them out. I'll post that link. Also, like I said, go check out, if you're interested in signing up to TradeNet, I'll post that link one more time here as well. I do make a small commission, but it's one of the ways we keep the stream free. Yeah, dollars. So to trade, I'm using TradeNet, which is TEFs, is actually the platform and the broker for TradeNet, the partnering broker. So the way TradeNet works is like you pay for a package. I used to pay for the intro package that was $500, and with that they gave me $14,000 in buying power with a $700 max loss. There is a profit split, so any profit over that $14K, there's a 70-30 profit split. So if I bring it up to $15K, I keep $700, they keep $300, and they don't take it out of anything that's not over the original balance. So like if you haven't made money yet, they're not going to take that out. Commissions are pretty cheap. They say it's 0.006 cents per share, but there's a 150 per trade minimum. And so like if I buy 100 shares, it's going to be 150 in, 150 out, or $3 for a complete round trip. But yeah, when you pay for the package, it also comes with a course and a few weeks of their chat room and stuff like that. And so it comes with a bunch of good stuff. But yeah, there's the link if you're interested in signing up. The other brokers I'm using is, I mean, not the other brokers. Sometimes I use Robinhood, but for platform, I use Thinkorswim for charts, which is what you see on the right side. This is TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim. It's just what I'm comfortable with regard to charting. I just like their charts. I've been using them since I started trading, and so I use Thinkorswim for charts, and then I use Trade Ideas, which is the scanners you see here for my scanners. Also, SnapTrade. I do use SnapTrade every morning to build my watch list. Man, look at VKTX drop here. Yeah, this drop on VKTX crazy, man. Like I said, this one was just a little unpredictable. It would go up and then down and then up and then back down. So a little weird for me. NPIX. I'll look at that one really quick. That's not showing up. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. Have a good day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Same time as always. I start the stream at 7:40 market time, so go check it out tomorrow. And yeah, have a good day, all. I'll see you all later. Thanks for watching. Dollar. Let me see, dollar. There's lots of stuff I use, man. I use SnapTrade. You can see SnapTrade here. I can build my watch list on SnapTrade. And I actually share this watch list, but it shows you a lot of different technical signals. They also have a scanner for gap ups, upcoming earnings, high gainer penny stocks, high gainer volatile stocks, stuff like that. They also have news, and so I can click today's news and watch list and just see the news on my watch list. So I use SnapTrade. There's also stockmarketwatch.com. You can go to after hours, pre-market. Then, you know, I use Thinkorswim, trade ideas. I mean, that's really what I'm using. I'm pretty sure everybody's eligible, Sam. I'm pretty sure, I mean, if you buy the student, I'm pretty sure, like, that's what you get. You get the funded account, but I'm not 100% sure. You want to reach out to them and ask them. And you can go through my link to reach out to them as well, but yeah, you want to ask them first. But I'm going to go ahead and close it down, guys. So have a good day. I'll see you all later. If you have any other questions, just leave it in the comments. I'll do my best to get to it. But yeah, have a good day, all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, same time as always. Later, everybody.